Hi everyone, today is July 11th, 2020, and this is a Duel Assessment, your podcast for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. My name is Green Ranger. This week there are a few events going on at the same time. We started off with the Turbo Duel Grand Prix. There are two new cards from that event. Kind of talk about the event in general. Two bad cards, I like to say, with an experimental PvP attached. The Aigami Event. This I previously said was shoddy, so my apologies for anyone I hyped up who expected shoddy. Though in a way they do mention a Master Shin, who I believe is the same thing as shoddy. So they do talk about him trying to get revenge for him or something. But there's a lot of DSOD talk that I don't get, but it's going on. Bunch of new cards from this event, but no character acquisition as of yet. DKayed Duel has his deck of the week, and this is a themed deck, a Yusei-themed Nitro Synchron deck with a sprinkling of Lightsworns. So a lot of classic cards that Yusei like to use in 5Ds. And speaking of 5Ds, we're going to finally get to all the cards received from the 5Ds level cap increase. All of those characters recently got moved up to level 40, I believe, so 2 cards for each player. Most of them are repeats where we get 2 or 3 copies of the card finally. There's a couple of new cards to discuss as well. So that'll be at the end of the episode. We'll just be discussing those. And that is it. So, this week, today is Saturday morning. And Konami finally announced their nerfs. And this was something I've called for since pretty much the end of that preliminary tournament. So it's been a while. And to say I was dismayed or tired of a stale game is a bit of an understatement. Like, I didn't even want to play. Like, this week there was the Turbo Duel stuff that I had to do to get gems every day. And then by the end of the day, I was kind of tired and I didn't feel like actually playing ranked duels, so that happened nonstop. But I think I last left off with Witchcrafters, and then this week I mostly played Synchro Toolbox. I saw some new versions of Synchro Toolbox being played who hit King of Games, so I tried those decks out. And these are some decks that they're a little different because they don't all focus on the level 6s. There's some level 4 play with Nettles and Haster, so playing that version, not doing great, and I'm also keeping that deck for the Turbo Duel Grand Prix because you have to play as a 5Ds character, so I'm using that to get through that event. Yeah, that's all I have to say, really. I'm happy the nerfs came, and it's unfortunate I didn't have time to look at any of those nerfs and limits. It's more of a ban list, limit list update rather than a skill update. The only notable skill update was Cyberstyle, but all of that discussion will be delayed till next week, unfortunately. But I want to give that topic of nerfs the time it deserves, because this is a meta shaker. This should be a meta shaker. It hits most of the decks that you see all the time, so hopefully it does make a difference, and I will unpack all of it next time. So let's get to Esports this week. I'm going to look at 2 tournaments that happened early in the week. Battle Phase 74. I should watch this one, I think. I'm not sure if I watched this one, but we're seeing a lot of Witchcrafters coming to these tournaments. Not sure if they're the most successful, but they're showing up. And of course, this is a bit of the old meta. We're going to probably expect some changes to these decks when they incorporate, simulated nerfs. I know Duel Links meta likes to do that, so next week's decks will look completely different for Duel Links meta. But get back to Battle Phase 74. First place, Gym Leader Brawl, Bring It, Plasma Magnets. So, Magnet Warrior deck with a Destiny Hero Plasma in it. Of course, with the skill Bring It, you're going to tutor it. When you lose 1,500 or 1,000, it's 1,000. So all you need to do is use Cosmic Cyclone, and you are good to go to draw your Plasma. And Magnet Warriors get monsters on the board pretty well, so very easy to get 3 monsters on the board. And this is a notable deck because it does run 3 copies of Beta the Electromagnetic Warrior, which was something that we got recently, I think. Like, DSOD Yugi got released, and we got 3 copies of this card. So this is the first notable deck to place with 3 copies of that card. Second place, this is 91 Big Gods Mindscan Lightsworn Witchcrafter. So this is I haven't seen Mindscan in a really long time in a tournament setting, but it helps Witchcrafters deal with set cards, which is a bit of their weakness because this deck doesn't really run anything to hit the back row, with the exception of Lila Lightsworn. This deck also runs 2 copies of Shmeta. This is a card you usually see 3 of. If there is any card you see 3 of, it's typically Shmeta. It runs Minerva Lightsworn as the only tuner, though. And Minerva allows you to get into level 6 plays with Pittori, so that's why she's there. And some level 7s. That's actually a pretty good idea, because most decks run Raiden. And Raiden into a 4 and an 8. It's not the best. Scrap Dragon's not the best, type of monster to run in this deck. It's, you want your level 7s, so that's why Minerva's there. It's got a lot of typical stuff for a Witchcrafter deck. Kiwi, Magician Girl, no Machine Angel Rituals. There's no Limit 2 card here. 1 copy of Edel. Top 4, 100% Sleepyon. Peak Performance, Black Wings. This is Shiny Sophion's deck. I think I've seen this deck before. It's just a typical Black Wing deck. And with Black Wings, we're maxing out on Gales, like 3 copies of Gale. So that is what is pretty much the main thing with this deck that's happened nowadays. Only 1 copy of Chris, in case you're wondering where the deck space is going. Top 4, Louise. Level Augmentation Shiranui. Bad Aim. It's showing up as a unpredictable card. It kind of catches you off guard and it destroys something. So there it is. Otherwise, really typical Shiranui deck, which probably won't look this way after soon. Duel Links Meta Weekly 132. Again, Witchcrafters showed up a ton. Most represented deck, also in the top 32. First place, Drizzle's Cyber Style Cyber Dragon. This is pretty much what the deck looks like. It's not going to look like this after the nerf, but this is what a really good Cyber Dragon deck looks like. Cyber Style, 1 Cyber Dragon, 2 Veer, 3 Cores, 3 Cosmic Cyclone, 1 Fusion Gate. That's the one you need. 1 Herald of the Abyss, 3 Cyberload Fusion, 1 Cybernetic Fusion Support, 2 Econ, 3 Cybernetic Overflow. Second place, Choo Choo, Shadow Game Ritual Beast. One development from Ritual Beasts that I could say is that Rempengu, which was the penguin, is gone. Otherwise, looks the same as any Ritual Beast deck. It does have Lava Golem in it. Top 4, Hey Hey, Craig, Peak Performance, Black Wings. Again, not much can be said about Black Wings. 3 copies of Gale, again. Looks the same. Yeah. I don't think Black Wings got hit by a nerf, though, so they may continue to look the same. But they'll probably have to adjust to the other decks changing, though. Top 4, Fake Zix, Show of Nightmares, Witchcrafter. 30-card Witchcrafter, and pretty much every 30-card Witchcrafter is going to look different when you have some kind of grass build going on. So you have grass, 1 copy of that card. Monster Gate is kind of like another grass. This is a card that I've used before, but I've always been confused by it because you need a monster on the board. But you can hit off a big mill with it if you do hit it. 2 copies of Machine Angel Ritual. This is usually the semi-limit that Witchcrafters use, or Econs. It's either those, one or the other. Because they're spells. Kiwi Magician Girl. Edel. Yeah. Pittori has a 2. That works for me because I only have 2 Pittori. Yeah. I think I'm playing this deck. I'm not sure. I do have all these cards. Oh, I'm not playing this deck. I think I dumped the Monster Gate or something. Anyways, they run Raiden as their one tuner in the deck. The other deck ran Minerva. Alright. So the tier list update, not huge changes here. It's pretty much what we expected. Crystron's tier 1. Of course, this is all going to change when those nerfs do hit. Tier 2 is crowded right now. Black Wings, Dark Magicians, Element Sabers, Shiranui. Dark Magician and Shiranui are the ones who get hit in this tier. Crystron's were hit in tier 1. Tier 3, Cyber Dragons, Invoked Neos, Masked Hero, Ritual Beast, Witchcrafter. So Invoked Neos and Witchcrafter are new additions to tier 3. Witchcrafters just showed up enough and they forced their way in, but they're not the most successful deck in terms of winning all the tournaments, so that's why they're there. Invoked Neos is interesting. It did get nerfed in some way. We'll discuss that. But that may be enough to knock it off tier 3. I don't know. It depends if you play that card. The Crimson Fox, I mean. Cyber Dragon also got nerfed. They may fall off the tier list. And high potential, there's Lightsworn. Lightsworn, like a pure Lightsworn deck. This deck's just been around forever. It's finally good now, I guess. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, it's there. Alright, let's get to Turbo Duel Grand Prix. They've made some changes to it, I've noticed. The skills, you don't get as many points from a Synchro Summon. You only get 1 now, I think. Before it was 2. But many reincarnations of this event. And I have to say that the Master Cup is a bit of a grind. Like, I want to just get the gems. I don't really care about these cards at all because they suck. But you have to get to the second highest tier, like a Master 2, to get like another 70 gems, and that's what I'm going to try to do. And it's important to get 3 duels in without surrenders per day, so you get a lot of gems. And this lottery itself is a gem-rich lottery. I find myself getting gems almost every draw, sometimes 10 gems at a sitting. So this is a gem-rich lottery. Again, the event is a bit of a grind. You're probably facing meta decks with these Turbo Duel rules, but, sometimes you have to give it up just to get some gems. That's just what it is. Whore out your time for some gems. But anyways, like I said, these are 2 bad cards. We're getting 2 new bad cards with an experimental PV mode in it. This could be like the most balanced way to play Turbo Duel Grand Prix, but I feel like some of the bicycles you use are stronger than others. Like the draw 2, discard 1, whoever has that one is really good. I would use the Kiza's bike for a while, but it wasn't good enough. Like doing piercing just wasn't there sometimes. Like I needed to draw cards. But let's get to the cards. You are slot Malefic, Red Eyes Black Dragon. It's got Red Eye stats, level 7, Dark Dragon, 2400, 2000. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Can only be special summoned by removing from play a Red Eyes Black Dragon from your deck. There can only be 1 face-up Malefic monster on the field. Other monsters you control cannot declare an attack. If there's no face-up field spell, destroy this card. So Malefics, they had a whole box where there were, like the second most featured archetype, and the archetype subsequently went nowhere. They needed that field spell and that continuous spell kind of going on at the same time, and then they played their really big monsters. This Red Eyes Black Dragon, unfortunately, does nothing. It's just a 2400, and that's it. The Rainbow Dragon is a 4000, and does nothing. So, if you're picking a beat stick, you're definitely going to take the one that has 1600 more attack, right? They have the same things. The only thing that this monster has is Red Eye Synergy, so you could use, Red Eye Spirit, all of those cards like Red Eye's Insight, Red Eye's Fusion, any Red Eye's Wyvern, any synergy Red Eye's card to go along with Malefic Red Eye's Black Dragon. But then you're gonna have to run that Malefic Field spell and all that stuff, and that's all just for 2400, so it's not worth it in the end. If you're dedicated to a Malefic build, you're gonna run those stronger monsters. 2400 just is not enough. Even the other one, Malefic Stardust Dragon, has an ability. It's 2500. This has none and 2400. So there you go. In the SR slot, we have a new card, Dragon Queen of Tragic Endings, Dark Dragon, level 6, 1900 attack, 2600 defense. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand when you control 3 or more face-up continuous spells. When this attacking card inflicts battle damage to your opponent sends 1 card from their hand to the graveyard, then you draw 1 card. During your standby phase, if this card is in the graveyard when it's sent there from the field, you can send a face-up continuous spell you control to the graveyard, special summon this from the graveyard. So this card has the same summoning condition as Haman, Lord of Striking Thunder, and with a lot less give. Like, it doesn't give you enough for that condition of having 3 continuous spells. Drawing ability is okay, but 1900 attack for all that work is way too much. Slow, situational, not enough stats. I don't know why this card exists. One could think of, people playing Wonder Balloons back in the day. That was a card that stalled quite a bit. It was a continuous spell that weakened your opponent every turn. That would go okay with this card, but, at this point in the game, that's not really a strategy that's viable at all. You're just going to lose all your games even in silver ranks, so, I don't really know why this card exists. That's a wrap on Turbo Duel Grand Prix. I'm going to try to do my best. I think I only have 2 of each card, but I don't really care at the same time. And I'm just doing it for the gems, getting to the gem level and stopping the event. But, it's important to play 3 duels a day in the Turbo Duel Grand Prix just so you can get your gems. Now time for the DSOD Aigami event. This is a weird event because they show you more of the storyline every time you face them or something. It's close to that. And we're seeing a lot of similarities with Yu-Gi-Oh! Villains in that they kind of this is reminds me of Noah, like he's freezing people in place. Something like that's going on. Where I'm at, Bakura is still missing, so there's a whole storyline about Bakura. Of course, Bakura is one of the better characters in the series, so they time into this DSOD event. We don't get to keep Aigami yet. Probably will be the next character, maybe next month. I don't know, because we're getting Kalin Kessler this month. So this is a random spawn event. I found a farming deck on Duelist meta that is because you get to summon the normal monsters. So you play all your level 8 dark monsters like Trihorn Dragon, Zoa, things like that. They just stay on the board, and Vassal can just pop them with a you could go Vassal gets hit by Plasma Mystic Plasma Zone, so Secret Passage to the treasures doesn't work. You're gonna have to use the Shooting Star Seal, the Shooting Star Bow Seal, or whatever it's called, to hit directly. But there's a bunch of new cards from this thing. One of them is actually decent. The End of Anubis. This is the good one. Level 6 Fiend, 2500 attack, 0 defense. When this is face up on the field, all effects of spell, trap, and monster cards that target a card in the graveyard or that activate in the graveyard are negated. This is Sealed Tombs and a monster, and 2500 attack for one tribute is okay. It's not bad. Summon skull level here. So this is just some random one tribute monster, so that prevents it from being a splashable card everywhere. That's a problem, right? But it is a dark monster, and it looks okay for pure Lightsworn. It's another dark for those decks. And those decks notoriously run things that come out of the graveyard. And I mean Plague Spreader Zombie, Glow Up Bulb. There's even a Lightsworn monster, the Beast Warrior thing with a bow. Felice, I think she's called. So Felice can come out of the graveyard. Wolf can come out of the graveyard. Any of these cards, they can be used to tribute summon for the end of Anubis, and that could just be a lockdown. If you could keep him on the board, you lock down your opponent. So this is a very good card. Wherever a dark monster is needed, I think those Lightsworn decks ran Chaos Sorcerer. No, Chaos... I'm losing my grip on card names, and it's pissing me off. Chaos Summoner or Chaos Sorcerer. It was like a 2200 that came out of the graveyard as well. Very similar ability. It punches a monster out of the graveyard, but this one just completely locks it down. I think this is a better play, actually, than that card. I would put this card into... I would find a way to put this card into some light and dark strategy, because it's pretty... It could just end the duel. Mystical Knight of Jackal, SR, level 7 Light Beast Warrior, 2700 attack, 1200 defense. When this card destroys a monster on your opponent's side of the field and sends it to the graveyard because of battle, you can return the card to the top of the opponent's deck. This is not good. 2 tributes, 2700 attacks, pretty bad. Abilities conditional on completing a battle, so that has to happen. And you return the card to the top of the deck. And there's a monster that does this even better. It's Erin, Lightsworn Monk. She doesn't even have to destroy the monster. She just hits into the monster, and then it just gets sent into the deck at a random position. If you send it to the top of the deck, you could clog up your opponent if they're playing like a Dark Magician or something, and then they can't tribute summon the Dark Magician or something. This would have been okay in the age of tribute summoning. Like, you would have blocked them off. You would destroy some monster that needs to be tribute summoned, and then they just keep drawing it, right? I think that was the point of this card, why it may have been good a long time ago. But at this point in the game, it's not good. Yeah, I could see what that strategy was. Alien Infiltrator, rare card, level 2, Earth Reptile, 800, 500. Once per turn, this card can move to an adjacent horizontal unoccupied monster zone. If no spell, monster, or trap is on your opponent's side of the field in the same column, it can attack your opponent directly. So, this is another monster zone moving mechanic we've seen with the Mech Knight cards, Rampaging Rhinos, and then Star Shooter. This doesn't do anything special though, and it's an alien card. Alien cards do stuff with A counters, and it's a bit of a control deck, and they put A counters on stuff, they destroy things, they take control of things. There's alien strategies, but it's more of a control deck, and this 800 attack direct attacker, who is conditional on moving from place to place, doesn't have a space. Like, it doesn't do anything with A counters. It's not going to hit into a monster because it's only 800 attacks. There's no point, right? The other aliens kind of have synergy with each other. This is just here. Occasional direct attacker, can move around a bit. There's no synergy of aliens at all, really, with this card. Ardesia Elephantis. This is, I'm not going to talk about this card at all, but this is notable for being Bandit Cave's monster. I'm going to win the duel. Pegasus brings out a kid. Beats it with a flying elephant. That's all it is. Plot twist. How did that flying elephant beat Garnecia Elephantis? We may never know. I think they made Flying Elephant a card, though, so we may know. Emperor Sem, level 4, Light Fiend, 1300 attack, 2200 defense. Each time you tribute summon a monster, each player can select one card from their graveyard and return it to the top of the deck. Not sure what this is for. Yeah, I don't know. What it is it's a 4-star, 2200 defense though. Not many monsters have that stat, and it's a Light Fiend, which works with Fabled. So this is like a pseudo Fabled. Also get Akihiron and Change Slime. Both of those are pretty bad. Alright, let's get to Doug's casual deck of the week. In honor of the Turbo Duels, he has a Yusei-themed deck, a Nitro Synchron deck, a lot of other Synchrons as well, sprinkled some Lightsworns. I must say I always get kicked when I face characters who roleplay. Like, I faced a My Valentine deck last week, and it was just full of Harpies, and it was pretty cool. This one actually is more effective than that, though. It does have a lot of synchro plays going on, and of course with the Lightsworn engine, you could do a lot more. So here is Doug's casual deck of the week.
Hey there, this is Doug Dimmadule with Doug's Casual Deck of the Week. So, this week I'm running a themed deck for Yusei, really revolving around the Junk archetype and the Nitro Warrior stuff. So, Nitro Warrior is going to be really one of the driving plays here. It's a level 7 synchro requiring 1 Nitro Synchron and 1 or more non-tuner monster. It has 2800 attack, 1800 defense. Once during each of your turns, if you activate a spell card, this card gains 1000 attack during the next attack this turn involving this card, during damage calculation only. If this attacking card destroys an opponent's monster by battle after damage calculation, you can target one face-up defense position monster your opponent controls, change that target to attack position, and then this card can make a second attack in a row on that monster. So this pairs really well with Rush Warrior, which is a level 2, 300 attack, 1200 defense. During damage calculation, if a Warrior Synchro monster you control battles an opponent's monster, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. Your battling monster's attack becomes double its current attack during that damage calculation only. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Synchron monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. This is a great way to recycle your Quick Draw Synchron, which can take the name of any other Synchron tuner that you need. So this card is really good as well, and you want to run 3 copies if you can. You could special summon this card by sending 1 card in your hand to the graveyard. We classically see that with Quillbolt Hedgehog, because Quillbolt Hedgehog, as long as there is if this card's in your graveyard, you could special summon this card, but then banish it when it leaves the field. But you have to control a tuner to activate and resolve this effect. So what we're seeing, and I'm pretty sure DKayed may have put something out this week as well with a similar type deck, but he pairs it up with Lightsworn, and I really like this idea. So having your 2 copies of Raiden, your level 4 tuner from the Lightsworn archetype. That way you could get into some level 6 plays with Brionic, the Dragon of the Ice Barriers. Everybody loves that card. I seem to splash it in almost every deck. So really the whole point is to try and get a Quillbolt Hedgehog into your deck, have your Raiden on the field, special summon your Quillbolt Hedgehog from the graveyard, get into your level 6 play, and just go to town. It's really, really good. And then for good measure, I like putting in 3 copies of Rico, the Twilight Sworn Fighter, because it's a level 2. Again, you need some level 2 non-tuners because your tuner is going to be your Quick Draw Synchron. So having another level 2, but upon summon, being able to banish any card on your opponent's side of the field is a very powerful tool to have. So it just has a lot of synergy here. with that being said, we want to run our 3 copies of Charge of the Light Brigade, send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard, add 1 level 4 or lower Lightsworn monster from your deck to your hand. So really what this does is it allows you to put some stuff into the graveyard while also searching out either your Raikou Twilight Sworn Fighter or your Raiden Hand of the Lightsworn. So just a really, really good thing. And because I like to run some semi-limited cards, the 2 that I use in this deck just to kind of get into my OTKs is I run my 2 copies of Hey Trunade, where you return all set spells and traps on the field to the hand. Great way to open your turn. If you're going second or if you're going third, then you could just run this and really start going into your combo plays. But yeah, I mean, it's a very straightforward type of deck build. And then for good measure, we could have Synchron Explorer. When this card is normal summon, you can target 1 Synchron monster in your graveyard, special summon that target, but its effects are negated. So again, with this being a level 2 monster and your Synchron Tuner being a level 5, you get into your level 7 plays very easily. So I'll run my copy of 1 Junk Berserker just because. I'll also run my 1 copy of Junk Archer to be able to banish a monster from the field temporarily, maybe go for an OTK that way. But then Nitro Warrior, because this is really what comes into play with the Attack Booster Synchro Warrior's skill that Yusei has. So it gives this monster a 700 attack boost because it gets 100 extra attack points for each level that the warrior synchro monster the level is. So a really, really good skill to have for this. This opens up opportunities for an OTK. But yeah, with the Lightsworn component in it, it really helps you mill cards into the graveyard, and really in a scenario where you mill a bunch of cards, you get your Quick Draw Synchron in the graveyard, plus a Rush Warrior in the graveyard, you just banish your Rush Warrior, add your Quick Draw Synchron to your hand, and get into some of your combo plays that way. This deck is unusually consistent, and that's one thing that I want to say. It's maybe not the best boss monsters, but at the end of the day, this deck has a lot of potential. This deck is just a fun theme type deck because I always like, pairing up Yusei or pairing up some of the other, legendary duelists with an archetype that was really meant for them. That's why I love the Mako deck so much, because it's always just about any water deck you're going to be running with Mako. So things like that. I mean, of course, everyone's getting a little tired of Lightsworns at this point, but when they're good, they're good. So it's a fun deck to play. As far as the extra deck goes, I mean, you got options, but really go for level 7 Nitro Warrior. That's kind of always my first play. Junk Archer is always another good play too. But then also having that flexibility to summon a Bionic Dragon of the Ice Barrier to send monsters back to the hand, maybe stuff that can't be destroyed or anything like that. This makes it a very, very powerful deck. So definitely worth a shot. I recommend it. But anyway, that's it for my casual deck of the week. I will see you next time. Take care.
All right, thanks, Doug. You can check out Doug's Casual Decks of the Week every week on this podcast, and check out his Twitter page, Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck Talk. Now we're going to get to a topic that is constantly shelved, and that is the 5Ds level cap increase. This happened about a month ago. Happy to get all the gems from these. I'm still going through the level ups for all my 5Ds characters. I hit the ones where I had to hit. The 2 Carlys obviously are the ones you have to get to first. And it's not really like a priority, but having a good card for okay archetype is better than having a useless card for a useless archetype, right? So both of Carly's hit that point of being good cards for okay archetypes. They're not the best by any means, but definitely good pieces. But most of the characters are giving copies of cards either to get the 3 of or to get like a 2 of. There's a few new cards here and there, and then there's a character who gives us nothing at all, and cards that we have a ton of typically. Let's start off in order. Yusei. Getting a second copy of Miracle's Wake at level 38. Trap card. Target a monster that was destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard this turn. Special summon it. So, this is like a resurrection card, obviously. Not bad. Comes to mind like probably the most used card that's like this is Powerful Rebirth, but that is more, it's better. This card. This one is specifically monsters destroyed by a battle and in that turn. So there's two conditions there. Destroyed by battle. The Powerful Rebirth will help out things that were effect destroyed, sent to the graveyard, like Herald of the Abyss. But, the difference is that one works on those level 4 and lower monsters. Gives them a buff, gives them another star. Things like that. Now we have more banish, bouncing, effect destruction, all these things that Miracle's Wake won't help us with. And also archetypes are more advanced now. They get themselves out of the graveyard. Shiranui, for example, they just synchro summon in the graveyard. So a card like this, a generic revival tool with these conditions, we could get 3 of them and they still won't get played. Honestly, not a bad card. Would have been good in the game's beginning, but not very good right now. And Yusei is also giving us a second copy of Unknown Synchron at level 40. Level 1, Machine Tuner. If your opponent controls no monsters, controls a monster, you control none. Special summon from the hand. So it's that good old Cyber Dragon ability to ramp up, so it's a little fast, which is good. Tuners are fast, get on the board for free, definitely have an advantage. That's it though. Right now, the most popular tuners that are universal come out of the graveyard. Like, there's some kind of deck disposal strategy, Plague Spreader, Glow Up Bulb, things like that. This is okay for, some deck that requires a machine tuner. We've seen, Dark, I think else like a bomb, I forgot what it's called. But that is kind of like the Junk Synchrony tuner that some decks were using for a machine tuner. Dark Salvo, there it is. That's the card that was kind of like a machine tuner. This is similar. Different effect though. And situational on the Cyber Dragon thing. So this helps when you need that machine tuner 1-star situation. Let's move to Jack. Third copy of Dark Resonator. 1300, 300, level 3 tuner. First time destroyed by battle each turn, not destroyed. So Resonator Synergy and Fiend Synchros never really hit it off in Duel Links, unfortunately. We had a whole box of Resonator cards, and they're not that popular. What this does do is it is a level 3 tuner and sticks on the board. And I have seen this card in some alternative decks. They're kind of like they're called Synchro Toolbox decks, but they're not the Akiza version that I play. This is some version that has, this guy, Psychic Tracker, what's the other one called? Psychic Wielder. That'll be another tuner. Phantom King Hydride. There's also some other card that prevents traps from being played. I forget what it's called, but there's another level 3 card. Anyways, they're all like level 3 cards, and they turn to level 6, so they kind of use the same toolbox that the Akiza Synchro deck uses. But I've seen, Dark Resonator be a card as another tuner, because they use multiple tuners in that deck. So it has some stall capability. It's not a useless card, I'll say that. It's not popular, but it's not useless, so it's good to get 3 copies. Also getting Dark Bug. Level 1 Insect 100, 100. When it's normal summon, select a level 3 tuner from your graveyard and special summon it. Its effects are negated. So this is a reverse Junk Synchron. You get the tuner out from the graveyard. It's a level 3. And this turns into a quick level 4, which is probably Old Entity Haster or something like that. But situational, you need that level 3 tuner in the graveyard. And Akiza doesn't provide you that. Akiza provides you Dark Verger, which is a level 2 non-tuner. So the situation works against Dark Bug. Dual skill, I mean. Pro Hogan, a little better in terms of cards we're getting from him. One's kind of useful. So we're getting a second copy of Damascus the Polar Knight, level 3 Winged Beast, 1300, 700. During either player's turn, you can discard this target a black wing monster you control. It gains 500 attack until the end phase. This definitely never saw any play. All the black wings, we know which the good ones are, like Zephyros, Bora, Gale, Chris, and then there's some tuners that get played too. So that's it. And this guy's always on the outside looking in. If you get 3 of these, it probably will never get played. This one is useful. A second copy of Pinaki the Waxing Moon, level 3 Winged Beast Tuner, 1200, 1000. Must be used for the synchro summon of a black wing monster. During the end phase, if it's in the graveyard, because it was sent there from the field this turn, add a black wing monster from your deck to your hand, except for this one. Yeah, so we see other tuners in the game. Gale is the favorite level 3 tuner for black wings, but sometimes you need more. Sometimes you don't have 3 Gales, so that is when you pump in this guy. And he helps in the card advantage department, so he's not fast like Gale. He doesn't reduce things' attacks by half, but card advantage is card advantage, and this is a plus ability. So, nice card to have. You get to mix and match more. Good for budget players playing Black Wings. Yeah, it's a solid card. Overall, I would just use this if you're missing some budget choice. Like, if you don't have enough Black Whirlwinds. Like, Black Wings are going to play 3 Black Whirlwinds. And if you're missing one, you can have this guy for card advantage. Alright, let's move on to Akiza. Not great cards here. Second copy of Violet Witch, level 4, Spellcaster, 1100, 1200. When it's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, add a plant with 1500 defense or less from your deck to your hand. Classic Searcher. There doesn't seem to be a plant worth searching nowadays. This ability is a little slow. Something a dual skill would use better, like a draw sense skill. But even so, this is completely supplanted by Witch of the Black Forest. There's no point of playing this card because Witch of the Black Forest has the same stats, and it could search anything. This just searches plants. So Violet Witch is a plant exclusive Witch of the Black Forest, and there you go. Third copy of Botanical Lion, level 4, 1600, 2000 plant. Gains 300 attack for each plant you control. Control of this card cannot be switched. So, this starts off as a 4-star 1900, solid for a rookie deck. Plant Beatdown could be a rookie deck. You throw in those carrots, you throw in Sylvan Blade Fender, I think. Bunch of cards that are plants. 1900, this gets even stronger. That's it. That's all it is, though. This won't see play in Air Images, any meta plant deck that there is. Get to Leo. These cards are pretty bad. This is a Morphtronic archetype. I think I wrote this and then I faced a Morphtronic deck that almost beat me. So that's kind of a surprise, but second copy of Morphtronic Lantron, level 1, Machine Tuner, 200, 200, when it's in attack mode. Any effect damage you take from the opponent's card effect is inflicted to your opponent. That'll be fun against burn decks. When it's in defense, when it's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you take no battle damage. Yep, Morphtronics, never saw any play. And then we get 3 smartphones. So this is the third copy of Smartphone. Level 1, Machine Tuner, 100, 100. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned by banishing a Morphtronic from the graveyard. When it's in attack mode, you can roll a dice. Excavate those cards from the deck based on the dice. Then you can add a Morphtronic card to your hand and then shuffle the rest of the deck. When it's in defense, you can also roll dice, look at the enemy cards from the deck, place them on the top or bottom in any order. This is a very cool card, but Morphtronics just never saw any play, unfortunately. This is like a very gadgety Swiss Army knife. It kind of tells you like smartphones can do a ton of things. I like it. I like the flavor of it. I really do appreciate the flavor of this. That's it, though. Alright, Leo's sister Luna. Get a new card from her, at least. No, I was wrong. We got second copy. Second copy of Bear Blocker, level 3, Fiend 1600 0. During your opponent's turn, set cards in the spell or trap zones cannot be destroyed by card effects. If a set card is in the spell or trap zone is destroyed by opponent's card effect, it gains 800 attack until the end of this turn. So the main problem is this is limited by Cosmic Cyclone. Cosmic Cyclone limits the usefulness of cards. There's always this big discussion of Mystical Space Typhoon, how it never came to Duel Links because Cosmic Cyclone just took over. Air Blocker, of course, is useless, so as long as Cosmic Cyclone exists. Also, a second copy of Counselor Lily, level 3, Fairy Tuner 415. When it's sent to the graveyard for a Synchro Summon, you can pay 500 life points. Have that Synchro monster gain 1000 attack until the end phase. Additional ability is not the worst, but she comes out slow, though, and that's the rub. Those Psychic cards I mentioned before, Psychic Tracker and Psychic Wielder, are better. And they have the same number of stars as her. Wielder will destroy a monster with less attack. Psychic Tracker, which is the comparison, while not a tuner, will give 800 attack permanently. So Psychic Tracker pretty much supplants Lily. To Trudge. Trudge is the one with the new card. You get one copy of Shieldworm, level 4 insect, Earth attribute, 800 attack, 2000 defense. When this card is summoned, it's changed to defense. Then send a card from your opponent's deck to the graveyard for each face-up insect you control. Despite the worm name, this is not a reptile. I think all the worms are reptiles. They're all light reptiles. This probably has synergy just from the name, but it doesn't do the things that the worms do. They all have flip effects. This is not one of them. In any case, this is a mill card. That's all it is. So this is not a useless card. If there's some mill strategy with insects, that would be great. Too bad the worms always get destroyed. So you could bring back a worm with limited removal and use Shieldworm to mill them some more. So this is a tool for mill, not a useless card at all. And a second copy of Montauk Dragon, not a bad one as well. Level 8 Dragon, question mark attack, 0 defense, cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned by sending 3 monsters from your hand to the graveyard. Its attack becomes the original levels times 300. You know this card from farming, right? Like if you've played the Yubel strategy, which is not... The Yubel strategy is not my favorite way of farming because it's really boring. I honestly gave up farming, but Montage Dragon is that card. You save up those higher level Yubel cards, you toss them. Montage Dragon's got have over 10,000. And that's what you need to hit someone with the Vassal. And I have faced against Yubel decks, like farming Yubel decks, by accident on Ranked. Like, people just go in with their deck and they're playing Montage Dragon Yubel. And occasionally they do steal games. So this card can surprise you every so often in a ranked duel. Someone goes in by accident, they win because of Montage Dragon. But it's a farming card. More consistency for the Yubel farming. Alright, Dark Signer Kalin. We must make that distinction because we're getting regular Kalin later this month. We're getting a second copy of some cards Infernity Necromancer, level 3, Fiend, 0 attack, 2000 defense. When it's normal summon, change it to defense. Kind of like the Worm we just talked about. If you have no cards in your hand, this card gains this ability. You can select an Infernity in your graveyard, except for Necromancer, special summon it. So yeah, the point of this is to get a quick synchro out, depending on your graveyard situation. So you have some kind of handless thing going on, you toss the tuner, this goes into the synchro play. Bring back any Infernity monster, so it's very flexible. And a second copy of Infernity Break, it's a trap. If you have no cards in your hand, target an Infernity card in your graveyard, one card your opponent controls, banish that first target, destroy the second. So you banish the Infernity card in the graveyard to destroy a card your opponent controls. Yeah, pretty good. Targeted effect destruction against any enemy card. The whole handless thing hasn't come to play yet, but these two cards seem important if it ever becomes good. Alright, Dark Signer Carly. We get a new card and an old card. I leveled her up all the way, so let's scroll. New card, Magic Cat. Level 2, Light Spellcaster. It's a cat, though, so it should be a beast, but whatever. 600 attack, 500 defense. If this is sent to the graveyard for the synchro summon of a spellcaster synchro, you can return a spell from your graveyard to the top of the deck. So there's actually very few spellcaster synchros in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, the level 7s are probably the best. I mean, Fortune Lady Avery or Arcanite Magician. Fortune Lady Avery probably won't work, though, because I think she needs a spellcaster. But, yeah, they're not going to match up with this card too well. You're going to need some level 5 tuner or something. It's kind of weird. And, yeah. If this was the tuner itself, it would have been better, but it's not. Because the tuner could have used, like, the Tricky or something. And then you get into your level 7 play. But, yeah, this is not a tuner that works against it. Now, more importantly, you're getting our second copy of Fortune Vision. Continuous spell. When it's activated, add a Fortune Lady card from your deck to your hand once per turn. When a card you control is banished by card effect, you can activate this effect. Monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. And if your opponent's card is banished by card effect this turn, you can make the next battle damage you take 0. I didn't even know it had that ability. The one where your stuff gets banished. And your monsters cannot be destroyed by card effects. I've played Fortune Ladies a ton, and I didn't even know it had that ability. So you always know about the ability. You hit a banish on your opponent, and then you take no battle damage. So that's why a lot of those decks do run Cosmic Cyclone, among other reasons. But Fortune Vision, yes, this is core card for Fortune Ladies. Why? This is just Duel Links 101, Yu-Gi-Oh! 101, increases opening hand consistency. Opening hand cards, what do you want? You want Fortune Lady Calling, so you want 3 of those. You want a Past or a monster. Like any other monster, so you could use Fortune Lady Calling to get Past. Typically, you want some kind of combo going on, like Light and Past, and then some other monster. Light and Past is probably good enough, but this extends your opening hand consistency. With 2 Fortune Visions, you can add whatever card you're missing. This is the best card to get in the opening hand, because you could get the Fortune Lady Calling, you can get the Light, you can get the Past, you can get the Water if you want. You don't want Water. You can get like a Wind if you want. But just a good card for tutoring what you want. Probably one of the best cards in the deck. After a while, it does clog up the board, but the opening hand consistency buff is a big deal. Alright, so this guy, Dark Signer Rex, he's giving us Moondragon Quilla and Sundragon Inti, which are cards we probably have a ton of. So this is a waste of level 38 and level 40. That is all. Alright, regular Carly. She's got some stuff. Eye of Truth. They're getting a third copy of Eye of Truth. Let's see. Continuous Trap. Your opponent must keep their hand revealed during each of your opponent's standby phases. If they have a spell in their hand, they gain 1,000 life points. I've never seen this card played. This is the only way I see it's being used is if you're playing like a bad reaction to Samachi and you're burning them. Like you're burning them when they gain life. That's the only way I see this being played. Alright. New card. The Grand Spellbook Tower. Field spell once per turn during your standby phase. If you have a spellcaster on your side of the field or in the graveyard, you can place a spellbook spell from your graveyard to the bottom of your deck, except for this one. Then draw a card. When this card is destroyed by your opponent's card and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a spellcaster from your hand or graveyard. Hand or deck, excuse me, whose level is less than or equal to the number of spellbook spells in your graveyard. Very good card. So typically, you're going to have a monster on the field or in the graveyard. You're going to play a blue boy. You're going to tribute him for Silent Magician or something. Or you could play, I forget what the new girl's called. The new priestess. But anyways, you're going to have a spellcaster monster on the field or in the graveyard. That's just how spellbooks play. And then you could recycle a card and draw a card. So the only downside, the only anti-synergy I see is this hurts Spellbook of Fate, because Spellbook of Fate requires 3 different spellbooks in the graveyard. By doing this, you're setting yourself back 1, and you can miss a Spellbook of Fate hit. Spellbook of Fate's really good because it doesn't target. So you're going to banish something from the opponent. Non-targeting, that's really good. That's as good as it gets. On a quick play, too, so this hurts Spellbook of Fate, but the card advantage you get should outweigh the negative, because this is an every turn thing on your standby phase. So as long as you have a monster in the field or graveyard, like, they're going to have to punch your things out of the graveyard, and that's not really worth it. So you're going to be gaining card advantage every turn, and that's really solid. I think that's going to outweigh the negative of not hitting mistiming a Spellbook of Fate. There's a bonus ability that lets you special summon a monster from your deck, but Cosmic Cyclone's so popular, they're going to hit this card. They're going to hit this field spell with Cosmic Cyclone. It's never going to activate. Only if they destroy it by accident with like Black Rose Dragon or something. Alright, so we wrapped up the 5Ds level up rewards. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so that wraps up this week. Upcoming news: Carmine's investigation event. New cards: Fortune Fairy Swee, Frequency Magician, Dual Quest in mid-July. Late July, new character Bruno. New cards: TG Power Gladiator and TG Tank Grub. Late July, acquisition of regular Kalin Kessler. Duelist Road Event, Clash at Crash Town. Late July, Mission Circuit, new card Imitation. Late July, Blair Flanagan is sent to the gate. So, that's it for this week. Next week, we will get to all of the Limitless talk, full deep dive there into what all that is. It's definitely something that, as someone who hit King of Games the last 2 seasons, I've been playing a lot. And I've really had no motivation to play in July. That's just the point. And to finally see a nerf that really hit the tone for me, like I really needed it. Or the next 2 or 3 weeks of this month will have been a drag for sure. But they need to hit these nerfs down before the next tournament. And the next tournament's going to happen in August to see who's going to win this year. So we're all going to get into that next week. So check out this podcast anywhere, subscribe anywhere, and search the Duel Assessment and you'll find this podcast. All of this content is on the duelassessment.wordpress.com as well. Find me on Twitter, duel_assessment, my own account at Green Ranger CCG. Alright, that is it. See you next time.